How's it going, Blamers? Welcome to Blame It on Mel Minis, your weekly chaos report. This week's dinner with friends ended with a fuck you and a fuck off. My D1 athlete was told that her knee exploded. My son, he started a war across town. The church, well, they might excommunicate me. And at this point, my life doesn't really need a reality TV show because it is one. Welcome to my weekly minis. I am going to share with you everything that is behind this picture perfect, I've got it all exterior. I want to be real with you guys and honest and unfiltered and let you know every single thing that's going on in my life. It's not always going to be big dramatic things, but a lot of times it is, sadly, just kind of the way it is with me and kind of what you get. This is also not meant to out anybody individually. I will be very careful when I speak about my personal relations. I'm going to be very careful to make sure that I am keeping their privacy, but it is my story and it's my story to tell. And I feel as though we need more of this real talk, and I'm here to share with you. So let's start off. I understand that you guys really want to know the story about dinner and the fuck you and a fuck off. But we're going to start with the doctors. I hate doctor's appointments. Everybody hates doctor's appointments. That's nothing new. But basically is what we learned is that our daughter, who had been working very hard, she has had a dream to play D1 basketball. She finally made it. She made the 1%. She had been working so hard to be able to achieve this dream since she was in second or third grade. She had meetings with coaches. She truly felt that she was going to be playing this year, which is exciting. So that 1% even gets smaller, thinking that she's not going to have to redshirt. She came in as a unicorn. She had 0 injuries. That's amazing. For a freshman, for an incoming freshman to be able to play and to be able to have a chance at proving themselves, that's something that is very rare. And she was excited. She was excited to be pushed. She was working harder. She was excited with all of the things that she had been learning. D1 practice is unlike anything else. And all that she has ever wanted was to be pushed. And she thrives in that environment, to be on the bottom and for that chance to be able to prove that she has what it takes to rise to the top. She is a goal setter. And when she sets her goals, she achieves them. So she made it. She made it to D1. She made it to the top 1%. And she had a real shot at playing. And she went down in practice. We just found the results of her MRI on Monday. The doctor basically said that her knee exploded. It exploded. So everything that she has worked for is gone. She is going to have surgery. She's going to be out for probably 6 to 8 months, and it's going to suck. And me as a mom, I don't know what to do with it. It's hard. It's so hard. And there's nothing that I can do to make her feel better. There's nothing that I can do to take her pain away. I can't take her to extra trainings. There's nothing that I can do to help her with this one. And she's mad, and that's okay. She's disappointed, and that's okay. And it sucks, and that's okay. That's my week. That's what I've been dealing with as far as that heavy weight with my daughter. It's hard. If you were a college athlete, you know that being sidelined is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. To have to go to these practices and not be able to compete, it really sucks. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at with her. And I don't know what to do about it. And it weighs on me. It's heavy. Okay, and then there's my son. He's decided that he wants to be a juvenile delinquent. He is causing havoc all over town, and I had a mom text me to tell me about it. Is it fun? Yeah, it's freaking fun. Did I do stuff like that when I was in high school? Oh, I was worse, way worse. But there wasn't any sort of video surveillance. There was none of that. There was no Ring doorbells. I have to figure out how to parent him and to be able to get him out of trouble, or not get him out of trouble, but to be able to keep him out of trouble. We were causing havoc. Nobody knew about it, and it wasn't put on Facebook for people to look for them, all of that. So yeah, I'm also having to deal with that. It's heavy. And it's also really hard to figure out how to parent these different kids. Every single kid is different, and I'm trying to figure out what's going to work for him. So that weighs very heavy on my mind. Then there's also, I guess let's back up, because Sunday I had a meeting with the Mormon church. I got that excommunication letter in the mail, although it wasn't called an excommunication letter. It was a letter for church council. So I went ahead, and it said on the letter that I could call the stake president if I wanted to call him ahead of that church council meeting. So I did. I called him, and he agreed to put the church council off, and he would just meet with me with another member of the stake presidency. I'm not going to really get into details with that, but basically it sucks. I said a lot of very hard things in that meeting. I shared some things that I had been burying for a very long time. So for me to come to them and to open up and to be raw and real, I felt as though all of my feelings and the things that I shared with them of why I left the church and have these things changed, I felt as though everything was completely pushed aside. And that was really hard for me. It was hard for me to feel like I wasn't heard. Everybody wants to feel like they were heard. I wasn't heard. And basically I have these men deciding my fate of whether or not I'm going to be excommunicated. I understand how a lot of people maybe don't really understand how I wouldn't want to be excommunicated, because I really don't want to be excommunicated. When that happens, you do lose all of those temple ordinances that we did inside the temple, and that part seals our family together for time and all eternity. So for me to lose those things is really hard for me to swallow, and also something that seems hurtful. I don't believe that Jesus would kick anybody out of his church. So it's really hard for me to, get behind that these people are really truly doing God's work in a way, because I don't feel like Jesus would be handling this situation with any sort of like I feel like it's a little hostile. And I feel like I'm basically getting in trouble. I'm being disciplined for speaking out or questioning things that have happened in the church. And it should be allowed to question. It should be allowed to be able to have dialogue. But also the things that they're bringing are also taken out of context. They did not listen to the entire podcast, and they refused to. They called it filth. So they don't want to listen to everything to be able to get like, quote unquote, the evidence, but they want to excommunicate me. But they want to excommunicate me based upon, and I don't know if they necessarily want to excommunicate me, but they want to discipline me based upon these things that are taken out of context and put together for clickbait. And they want to discipline me based upon that, but they're not watching the full podcasts. And basically if I stop the podcast, then I won't get into trouble and I won't be disciplined. However, I also need to denounce everything that I said. I don't like that. It seems very icky to me, because I have told my story and I've been very honest about it. And I don't regret anything that I have ever said. Anyways, that's another story. That's something I want to get into later. Okay, now we're going to get into the dinner. The dinner where I say, fuck you and fuck off. I should have known right away that there was something off, because when I'm going into a birthday dinner, there should be 5 or 6 of us there, but there isn't. It's just me and 2 other people. I had expressed going into this dinner when the group text came out on Monday that I was in a really bad place mentally. I was carrying a lot of very heavy things, and I was still willing to put my friends first. I still carved time out to meet them for dinner. This dinner was over 3 hours. That is a very, very long time. It started off really good. It started off with us catching up. I was able to open up. I was sharing all of the raw things that were going on inside my personal life. I was open. I was honest. I was very vulnerable, really. And they were sharing some things that were going on in their lives. So dinner was going great. It was really going good until basically it wasn't. It turned south very quickly. I'm not even certain if appetizers had come yet. I don't really know exactly what point, because if I look back at it, it's kind of like the Twilight Zone a little bit, because it was so fucked up. So they start coming after one of my friends, one of my closest friends, starts bad mouthing her, accusing her of things that I know that she didn't do. When you are my friend, I'm in your corner. I will defend you, and I will deathly defend you when I know that you are right. So then when I was unable to defend her, it ended up turning on me. Then they started throwing accusations at me, and a lot of it had to do with business. I hate it when business comes in between friendships. I hate it when people basically require you to use their services or use their business just because you are friends. That just seems really shitty to me. I don't require any of my friends to buy things from us. We have been self-employed. We have been business owners for almost 20 years. In no way would I get upset if they do business somewhere else. It's just ridiculous to try to require those things and to blur those lines. Just because you're a friend doesn't mean that you also need to do business with them. This happened with another friend, and we are no longer friends because I didn't go and I didn't buy a package or whatever it was at her business. She dropped me as a friend. And that is so sad to me when business comes in between friendships. So as I'm being attacked, I'm quiet. I'm not normally quiet. I feel as though that if you have been listening to me for as long as you have, you can kind of get that understanding that I'm not quiet. And I'm a lot. I was deathly defending my friend, and I didn't like it, and I tried to shut that down. That didn't work. It turned on me, and I was very calm, and I just said, I feel like this is very aggressive. I don't know where this is coming from. I'm very confused, and it just kept going on. It was very mean. I don't even know how else to say that other than the attacks and the accusations were mean. And a lot of them had to do with business. I don't think that that's okay. I hate that. I hate when those lines are blurred. So I also, towards the end of it, because let me also say that we were there an hour after this restaurant, and it's a fancy restaurant. This restaurant has closed down. We're there about an hour after closing, and they kick us out. So this is now going on basically out on the street. And I walk out and I just say, I just feel like maybe the conversation inside, it wasn't resolved, and I'm feeling really hurt by everything. It just got worse. I just don't understand how people that you think that you are friends with, that it can turn on you in just a split second, especially when you're at your lowest. However, I have also recognized that every single time that you are at your lowest, That's when you find out who your true friends are. That's when you find out if they are going to be there for you or if they're not. My friends were not going to be there for me. And that was really heartbreaking. It was hard for me to swallow that and for them to continue to persist at attacking me. And I want to say they, but the other one was very silent. She really didn't say much. She made a couple faces of maybe disagreements off to the side. But when you are not saying anything and you are silent, that's a statement all on its own. I would never sit there and watch another friend get attacked and not say anything or not try to help, especially knowing that I was at a very low point. It just seems really fucked up. And honestly, it seemed as though she didn't care. She didn't care about me. It seemed as though I was set up. There was a vendetta. They were upset about something and it was affecting this person's business. And I was being attacked because of it. And my friend was being attacked because of it. Because her business that she was doing is in the same category as this other friend. And she was a threat. I don't like that. I don't know how any of those things have anything to do with friendships or why we're getting friendships involved in this. It just seemed like bullshit. And then when I said, I just can't do this anymore. I'm at my ultimate low. I can't continue to have you attack me and for them to continue to call my friends my minions, to accuse me of having these minions that I'm protecting. It really just seems cruel. I don't like that. I don't like anybody trying to put my friends on a different playing field than what I'm on. We are all the same. Nobody has minions. And also, let me be clear, I don't have that many friends to even have minions. I would have to have an army. I don't have that many friends. I have a very tight circle of friends, very small, because I am very loyal and I also demand loyalty in return. I'm very slow to trust. I am. I'm very slow to trust. But when I trust you and I let you in, you are my friend forever. I will defend you forever until you're an asshole to me. And then you don't apologize. And even going out of that, like I think about that where I said, finally, where I was like, fuck you and fuck off. And I still wasn't even yelling, which you have to understand. I can see red. My head turns around. There's steam coming out of my ears usually. But I was so calm because I was drained. I was drained from all of the emotional weekly things that I had been experiencing. I was really, really in a low point. So for them to continue to kick me while I was down was really shitty and not okay. So when I left and I said, fuck you and fuck off, why wouldn't anyone go after me? Why wouldn't anybody text and say, you know what, I'm really sorry. We shouldn't have treated you that way. We shouldn't have said that. No, that's not what happened. There was text basically explaining their behavior and this is why they said what they said. That's not an apology. That's not okay. I just was so broken and it's so hard. And I'm sure that you've all been there where you have experienced this feeling where you realize that these people are not your friends. Friends don't treat each other like this. I would never treat somebody else like that, ever, especially my friend. I wouldn't even treat somebody that I didn't like this. It was mean. It was really mean. And I don't even feel like I have to go into detail of every single thing that they threw at me. But I can assure you that it was really painful. And there was daggers and they didn't really care. And they never apologized. So yeah, that was my week. It kind of sucked. But luckily, the rest of the week, I was able to surround myself with real friends, with good friends, good people. Went out to dinner with some of my closest friends on Friday night, and it was great. And I know that those friends would have my back. So think about that. Think about what kind of a friend you are. Are you going to sit there in silence when one of your friends is getting ripped to shreds? Are you just going to sit there and say, oh, you know what? It doesn't affect me? Or are you going to stand up for your friend and say that's not okay? Anyways, this week kind of sucked. Next week, I can feel like it's going to be so much better. I'm really excited about it. I got a lot of fun trips coming up. We're going to Vegas with some friends. So I feel like my next weekly chaos report is not going to be as sad and gloomy. It's going to be super fun. And see what I mean? I don't feel like it's very good. And this is just the cherry on top for the whole week. I was meeting 2 other friends for this birthday dinner. But then the conversation turned on to one of my close friends. She's part of another friend group. She is a nurse, and she also is going to NP school full time. She also, on the weekends, does Botox and fillers. This one friend that's sitting across from me at the table is talking about my other friend and saying how she is doing Botox and fillers and she has no idea what she's talking about or what she's doing. She's had no training, which is untrue, absolutely untrue. And also talking about how she's a clown and she is not going to even be able to pass NP school. She's talking about if she was in real NP school and not online NP school, that they would see right through her and that she would have been kicked out of the program. I stop her. I don't like that you're speaking poorly about one of my friends, and I would do the same thing, whether it was you or you. I would not let anybody speak poorly about you. I would stop the conversation. So then after that, then she decided to say that I had told my one friend that does the Botox and fillers that this other girl, I went to her one time and it was a couple years ago, and I went to her. My normal lady, she was going through breast cancer. And so I went ahead and I let her do some Botox and I let her do some filler. And so she did some filler and she put this filler in, and the one side ended up falling down to the bottom of my jaw and made sort of like this little ball, right? It ended up that I had to go back and have her dissolve it. I just stopped going to her after that. And also because I also had Morpheus 8 done with her, and I did 3 sessions, cost over $3,000, and it did absolutely nothing. Nothing. Felt like that was a little bit unethical on her part. And so I just walked away and I just didn't go back to her again. The friend across the table was telling me that my nurse friend was telling people or telling her new clients that this nurse had botched my face. I don't believe that's true. That friend said she did not say that. So then let's go ahead and let's fast forward. And she is telling me about how my friend had said that she botched my face and that I had told the nurse that did the injections that she needed to drive to my house and massage the filler. I'm still not even certain where that would come from or why I would say that somebody needed to drive to my house. That seems absolutely absurd, especially since I made the 30-minute drive to Moscow in order for it to get dissolved. Also, I'm thinking to myself, how does this friend across the table know any of my medical information and what I had done? Because she also knew all about the Morpheus 8. And so I started questioning her. I'm like, how do you even know that? Like, she's talking about how she's seen this in the paperwork. And I'm like, why are you doing the paperwork? I'm thinking HIPAA, right? That's a thing. So what's going on here? And she said, well, let me remind you that I'm a PA. And I'm like, okay, well, let me remind you that you told me that you never finished your PA. And then she said, well, I sit down with her husband and she goes through all of the medical records and they go through and sign it. And I was like, you're signing them? And he's like, no, my husband's signing them. I'm going through through them. Also, the fact that she is seeing any of these medical records is still a HIPAA violation. So for this friend of mine that's sitting across the table to say she's gone through my records, that is a HIPAA violation. And then to be attacking me about it is absolutely not okay. And then also to be saying it in front of another friend that's sitting to this side of me. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I've heard her say multiple things about many people that go to this lady. I don't know how she knows so much about all of these patients and what they're having done and what they're doing, because she should not be looking at this paperwork. It's a little ridiculous, but yes, let's go ahead and yell at me and tell me how terrible I am. So she proceeds to tell me about how I was a terrible friend to my nurse friend. I blew up her relationship with her boyfriend. That's another episode. This boyfriend was a habitual liar. Like, I don't know if he even knew how to tell the truth. He created a false life, and I saw right through it. And so of course I did research. He claims that he bought this house and this property and all of this stuff. I presented real receipts to my friend and said, this guy, your boyfriend who you've been with for 9 years, he is a liar and he is lying to you. Here's all the receipts. Do with it what you want. I was a good friend. I did the hard thing and I gave her the information, and she stopped being friends with me for about 5 to 6 months until she found on her own, she found her own receipts and found that he was an absolute sociopathic liar. She didn't break up with him because of the stuff that I sent, because that was 5 months before. So then this friend across the table, she's still telling me about how my nurse friend is talking poorly about me, that she talks all kinds of shit about me. And I just don't believe it. I'm like, what? What does she say? Please tell me. Well, you are an absolute idiot if you don't think that she doesn't have resentment because you blew up her relationship. Also told me that I have a lot of growing up to do, because if I don't see that this friend is talking crap about me. I had finally just been like, you know what? Like, this seems really aggressive. I don't even understand why we're talking about this, how we've gotten this far into the conversation. Multiple times I've tried to stop it, and finally I had kind of had it. And I get to the point, because we're at this restaurant now. The restaurant, it's a really nice restaurant. It closes. I can't even imagine what some of the people thought that were around me, why she was being so mean, why she was so angry, and why she decided that she was going to try to rip my friendship apart with my nurse friend. The only thing that I could think of is that because my nurse friend, because she's doing Botox and fillers, she must be a threat, because she's doing these Botox and fillers in this other town, because that's also where she works. I mean, I don't know how I'm getting brought into it, because I don't see that injector. I don't see her ever. We don't run in the same circles. I don't see her. And I even told my friend across the table, like, out of respect for her, knowing that she is her friend, I also don't say anything. I don't say, oh, well, she screwed up my face. She botched my face. I don't say that. I don't say, hey, you know what? I think that she's dishonest because she promises things work and they don't work. Also, you can ask her to do something and she's going to do what she thinks that you need, not what you would want. I don't say any of those things out of respect for her, but now I'm saying it. She knew what she was doing. She knew she was tearing me down. She knew she was attacking me. Even towards the end, multiple times, I tried to say, like, I can't do this right now. I am broken right now. Give me some grace. I don't even know where all of this aggression is coming from. And it was just like a dog with a bone that just wouldn't let it go. And it just kept going and going and going until finally I was like, fuck you and fuck off. There is nothing that made me feel more free than being able to stand up for myself and to walk away and know that I did the right thing. I stood up for my friend that was being attacked because she wasn't there. And also the friend that didn't say anything, where is your place in this? Where are you as you're just sitting there watching me get attacked and ripped apart and you've said nothing? Your hands are not clean. Thanks for joining me, Blamers. Truth bombs delivered. So hit like or follow and drop a comment of whatever you want to hear next. This is Blame It on Mel Minis, and you're the ones calling all the shots.